Tonight, the new COVID restrictions as the Delta variant surges. President Biden warns there may be new limitations in the days ahead. More cities now implementing indoor mask mandates as cases spike 60% nationwide. Florida hits a new daily record, the most cases since the pandemic began. The FDA announces an all-out sprint for full approval of the Pfizer vaccine as vaccination rates rise in the states hardest hit. What's driving people to get the shots now? And violent protests in one country over vaccine passports. Fear and anxiety across the country as the eviction moratorium ends tonight. Millions could be forced from their homes as some landlords face bankruptcy. The scams ruining vacations. Imagine driving across country to a rental house you thought you booked, only to learn it was all a fake. What you should look out for.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, reporting tonight from Tokyo.
Hello from Japan on a big weekend of Olympic competition. We'll have more on that ahead, but here's where we begin tonight. The Biden administration leaving the door open for more restrictions as health officials desperately try to contain the Delta COVID variant, which has dramatically altered the battle against the virus. After acknowledging a growing threat to even vaccinated Americans, officials now weighing next steps as more cities adopt their own rules. But there is also welcome news tonight about the pace of vaccinations. Kathy Park starts us off now with the latest.
Tonight, another major turning point in the pandemic as COVID cases soar.
Should Americans expect more guidelines coming up, more restrictions because of COVID?
In all probability.
The president telling Americans to expect more restrictions after internal CDC documents warn the war has changed due to the surging Delta variant and that the vaccinated can spread the virus too when infected.
Are you for mandating a vaccine on a federal level?
That's something that I think the administration is looking into. It's something that I think we're looking to see approval of from the vaccine.
The CDC director later clarifying her comments, tweeting, "There will be no nationwide mandate." Cases have spiked in almost every state, averaging more than 70,000 infections a day, a 62% increase from the previous week. Florida hit a record 21,683 cases Friday, the most since the start of the pandemic.
Patients are showing up sick today and last week, and unfortunately, this is going to continue for at least another 6 weeks.
And healthcare workers are also getting sick. The San Francisco Chronicle reporting dozens of staff members at 2 hospitals in the city have tested positive in the past 6 weeks. Most were vaccinated. To slow the spread, rules are tightening across the country. Washington, D.C. now requiring masks indoors even for those fully vaccinated. This weekend in Chicago, in addition to proof of vaccine or a negative COVID test, thousands flocking to Lollapalooza will need to mask up at indoor venues. While in New Orleans, mask mandates are back as Louisiana joins a list of top states with new infections.
What we're saying now, you really need that mask on, period.
And here in New York City, the priority is still to boost vaccination numbers, but the mayor said that they will be updating possibly the indoor mask guidance as early as Monday. Lester?
All right, Kathy Park, thanks very much. Let's bring in Dr. John Torres with me here in Tokyo. A lot of understandable worry about these breakthrough infections. Should we be changing our lifestyle in reaction to this?
Not really, not much, other than this, the mask. You want to wear a mask if you're in an area with high transmission rates, low vaccination rates. If you're worried about your health, simply put a mask on. And don't forget the children. Those under the age of 12 can't get vaccinated, and so they might need to be masked, and you might need to be masked around them as well.
And in all of this, I get the sense there's still a strong argument for vaccinations.
If you look at the data, it's showing the vaccinations work really well. Put it in perspective, about 1 out of 10 Americans has had COVID. When it comes to testing positive, only 1 out of 1,300 who've been vaccinated.
All right, Dr. John Torres, thanks very much. Let's stay on that point now about vaccines. There is some good news on that front today. The number of people getting vaccinated is, in fact, going up, rising in places that had been lagging. Vaughn Hilliard has more for us.
The country's hottest infection spots this month are now also leading the country in new vaccinations.
That was the time.
Across the U.S., a 31% jump this week in first doses administered. Some of the states most responsible? Places like Georgia, Missouri, and Texas, those with the country's lowest vaccination rates. With the Delta variant sweeping through, doctors began pleading.
We really need your help to help us.
And Republican governors taking a louder stand.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks.
Now, data showing progress this weekend. In Alabama, vaccinations are up 159% compared to 3 weeks ago. And Florida, up 78%. A local pharmacist in Delwood, Missouri, encouraged by the new demand.
I can comfortably say it's gone up by at least 50% now from where it was end of June.
But why now? What took you these many months to finally decide to get the shot?
Because I saw the cases are rising. Because I've seen more people of my family and friends have taken it and they're okay.
One entire family in St. Louis decided to roll up their sleeves before school starts.
I wanted to get the shot because I wanted to protect myself and I also wanted to protect other people.
We do know some that are close that have passed.
In some states, offering $100 with the shot.
The more I research about it, the pros outweigh the cons, so that's why I decided to get it.
And today, an urgent push from the FDA, saying it's all hands on deck as it works to formally approve the Pfizer vaccine, elevating it from its current emergency use status.
If that means that additional people will feel comfortable getting vaccinated, I think that's a good outcome.
Now, there is still a long ways to go at vaccination efforts like this one here in Georgia. Despite this recent uptick, it is still one of 10 states with less than 50% of its adult residents fully vaccinated. Lester?
All right, Von Hilliard, thank you. And make a plan for where to get vaccinated. Visit planyourvaccine.com for more. Still ahead for us tonight, the fury in France over new COVID vaccine passports. Plus the scammers stealing your money and your vacation dreams. What to know before booking an online getaway. We're just hours away from a deadline that could put 1 million or more Americans out on the streets. The ban on evictions put into place during COVID ends tonight. Megan Fitzgerald reports.
Tonight, fear and anxiety in neighborhoods across the country.
I don't want to be on the street.
Yvonne Bryant lost her job in the pandemic and has been struggling ever since. She's among the more than 6 million Americans behind on their rent.
How far behind are you on your rent?
3 months. And this is always coming up in this too close.
There are a lot of people in trouble and a lot of people that need help.
Anthony Simpkins is the CEO of a nonprofit in Chicago that helps people stay in their homes, distributing some $2 million throughout the pandemic, but he says it's not enough.
Oh, it's definitely a potential crisis. The vast majority of these people are going to be low-income renters and are least likely to be able to sustain the shock of loss of income as a result of the pandemic.
The eviction moratorium ends tonight.
I'm like, I might be homeless at any day.
In a last-ditched effort, the White House urged Congress to extend the moratorium, but Democrats didn't have enough votes. They're now recessed for 6 weeks. The federal government has allocated $6 billion to help with rent and mortgages, but it's not getting out fast enough.
So even if a tenant has applied for emergency rental assistance and hasn't received it yet, that's not necessarily enough for them to avoid being evicted and losing their homes.
It's money that landlords have been waiting for.
There's been no safety net provided that was focused on the landlord's needs. It's been focused on avoiding eviction of tenants.
Property owners shortchanged some $21 billion nationwide, many not able to weather the storm.
Are people going bankrupt over this?
Yeah, there are some who are suffering financial hardship because of it.
The pandemic affecting so many. Homes and livelihoods at stake.
It's absolutely a race against time, and we're actually out of time now.
Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News, Chicago.
There were massive, at times violent protests in France today over new laws that will require proof of vaccination to enter restaurants and other businesses. Matt Bradley has the latest.
Tonight in France, the fight over who needs to get vaccinated hitting the streets. Demonstrators in Paris pelting police who respond with tear gas and fists. At least 3 officers were injured. Nearly 20 protesters were arrested. They claim the choice to get vaccinated should be about liberté, freedom. I think our freedom is in danger. I have children, she says. I'm fighting for their future. They're outraged over a new virus pass coming into effect August 9th that would legally restrict entry in most places like restaurants, bars, and theaters to the vaccinated and those with a recent negative test. I won't sell my soul to go to the restaurant, the cinema, says this man. There's nothing above freedom. France is battling a frightening new wave. Cases climbed to nearly 24,000 just tonight. A nation fighting the disease, now fighting over civil rights. Matt Bradley, NBC News.
Still ahead for us tonight, the vacation rental scammers stealing your money. What to know before you book a place to stay. We're back with a new warning about vacation rental scams. As more people reserve getaways, crooks are posing as property owners, not only stealing your money, but ruining your vacation, too. Katie Beck now on protecting yourself before you book.
After driving 15 hours from St. Louis, Missouri to Virginia Beach, Missy Bursing was ready to feel sand beneath her feet.
We're excited. We hadn't done it in 2 years.
But hopes for a dream trip became a nightmare for Bursing and 16 family members.
Did it occur to you, I've been scammed?
I think when we knew the code didn't work.
The security code to open the rental home didn't work, provided by an alleged Airbnb host. First connected on the site, he'd spoken with her by phone several times, offering house rules, even the Wi-Fi code. Suddenly, he was unreachable.
It was just a disbelief. I'm like, how, this is really happening.
Unfortunately, it's happening more often. According to FBI data, the number of rental scams jumped 17% last year. Online scammers swiping pictures of properties they don't own, posting them for rent, and making off with the money from post-pandemic travelers desperate for escape. Real estate agents say demand for summer rentals is at an all-time high and inventory is extremely low, which they say is the ripe conditions for rental scams.
And they show up and their dreams are dashed.
Gail Bucker manages properties in Virginia Beach and says she's been forced to turn families away. A first sign of scam for renters should be the price.
And they advertise it really low. So that's the bait. The bait is it's cheap.
Other red flags, rental listings on social media sites, requests to wire payment to the owner directly, requests to adjust dates of the rental, and owner unreachable by phone. Airbnb refunded Bursing's family for the rental and travel cost and banned the scam hosts from their platform. Still, they say bad actors are out there.
We are seeing scam artists who are going to really extraordinary and sophisticated lengths to make people believe that they are on Airbnb.
Bursing's family returned home with packed cars and a sad reality.
The fact that people are out there being so dishonest and the fact that it's so easy for them to be dishonest.
Words of caution after a vacation stolen by a scam. Katie Beck, NBC News, Virginia Beach.
And that's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. I'm Lester Holt. Thank you for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for NBC's primetime Olympic coverage beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be back here from Tokyo tomorrow night. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other. Good night, everyone. Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.